The moment the world found out. Imagine sitting in a television studio audience. A kind old man is beside you, 79 years old, silver-haired, quiet. The host holds up a scrapbook, old photographs, names, columns of handwriting. She reads a name from the book, then asks, "Is there anyone in this audience who owes their life to Nicholas Winton?" And the entire studio stands up, every person around in tears, screaming. Rising to their feet, that old man's hands begin to tremble. Because for 50 years, he never told a soul what he had done. It's December 1938. Nicholas Winton is 29 years old, a London stockbroker, living a comfortable life. He's about to go skiing in Switzerland when his friend calls him. "Come to Prague instead," his friend says. "There are people here who need help." Winton cancels the ski trip. He boards a train. What he finds in Prague will change everything. The Nazis have just annexed the Sudetenland. Hundreds of thousands of Jewish families are desperate, standing in queues in the freezing cold, begging for visas, for any way to get their children to safety. Winton sees children sleeping on floors, parents weeping, families torn apart by fear. He is not a diplomat. He has no authority. He has no funding. He pulls out a notebook and he starts writing names. Winton has 8 days in Prague, 8 days to do what no one else was doing. He sets up a makeshift office in a hotel. He advertises in newspapers for British families willing to take in a child. A stranger's child, possibly forever. He forges documents when he had to. He bribed officials. He wrote letter after letter to governments around the world, begging them to take in refugee children. Most countries said no. Britain said yes. But even then, every child needed a foster family, a $50 guarantee, and a mountain of paperwork. Winton went back to London and worked every evening at his kitchen table. Before work, after work, weekends, he recruited volunteers. He fundraised. He did it all quietly, without headlines, without praise. Between March and August of 1939, 8 trains departed from Prague's Wilson station. Each one carried children, some as young as infants, with small suitcases and name tags around their necks. Parents handing their children to strangers on a platform, not knowing if they'd ever see them again. 669 children arrived safely in London. A 9th train was ready to go. It would have been the largest, carrying 250 more children. It was scheduled to depart on September 1st, 1939. On September 1st, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland. The borders slammed shut. Not one child on that 9th train survived the war. After the war, Nicholas Winton never spoke of what he did. Not to friends, not to colleagues, not even to his wife. He put the scrapbook, the lists of names, the photographs, the letters, into a suitcase, and he stored it in the attic for 50 years. He didn't think of himself as a hero. He thought of the 250 children on the 9th train, the ones he couldn't save. That number stayed with him. It wasn't until 1988, when his wife Greta was clearing out the attic, that she found the suitcase. She opened it, read the names, realized what her husband had done. And the world finally found out. The BBC program was called That's Life. The host, Esther Ranson, sat next to Nicholas Winton in the audience, not telling him what was about to happen. She read from his scrapbook. She asked if anyone in the room owed their life to this man. And one by one, then all at once, every person around him stood up. Survivors. Children he had rescued as babies, now adults. Grandparents themselves. Winton looked around the room, slowly, at face after face after face. He couldn't speak. He could only nod and tremble and weep silently. Because every one of those faces, every life in that room, existed because of a ski trip he once cancelled. Nicholas Winton lived to be 106 years old. He was knighted by the Queen. He received honors from the Czech Republic, from Slovakia, from countries whose children he had saved before they even existed as nations. The 669 children he rescued went on to have children, and grandchildren, and great-grandchildren.